Hi, welcome to the Python Programming Beyond the Basics and Intermediate training. I am Ahmed Ibra. I am a senior software engineer and I'll be the instructor for this course. In this course, you will get hands on many important topics that you need in order to create applications of multiple skills and purposes in Python programming language. By the end of this course, you will have all the intermediate concepts that every Python developer should have and know how to use them practically in all the fields of the Python programming language. Even if you are in any field of the Python programming language, it is very necessary to know all the concepts that we will talk about in this course, as well as how to use them in a theoretical and practical way as we will do in this course. And this is in order to facilitate the creation of programs in the correct way without wasting time and without any complication. I created this course for you if you want to boost your Python career to become a productive Python programmer. There is a lot of fun stuff here that will work in almost every Python program today. So let's take a look. So, what are the topics that we will talk about in this course? Let's take a quick overview of the topics that we will talk about in this course. First of all, we will talk about iterators in the Python programming language, how to use them, the concepts and functions related to them, how to create them, and what is the purpose of creating them easily. Simply, iterator in Python programming language is an object that can be iterated upon. Also, it is an object which will return data and one element at a time. This is just a brief and a simple definition of Python iterator. In the second section, we will talk about the Python scope of all kinds and how to deal with them. Not all variables or functions can be accessed from anywhere in a program. The part of a program where a variable or function is accessible is called its scope. The next section, we will talk about the string formatting to make sure a string will display as expected, and you will learn about these formatting techniques in detail and add them to your Python string formatting toolkit. And in the fourth section, we will know all about what generators in Python are and how to use them. Also, how to build generator functions and expressions. Also, how the Python yield statement works and the difference between yield and return. How to use multiple Python yield statements in a generator function. And how to use advanced generator methods in your applications in Python programming language. Okay, the next section, you will learn everything about regular expressions in Python programming language. This is a very important topic. And we will talk about the regular expressions in Python in a detailed and practical way, and also with deep clarification. Actually, you will have all the power of regular expressions. You will work with the regular expression library, deal with the pattern matching, and many more. So, what is the meaning of regular expressions? Basically, regular expressions are a tool for matching patterns in text. This is a brief and simple definition of regular expressions. In the next section, you will master the most commonly used data structures from the Python collections module. Basically, collections in Python are containers that are used to store collections of data, for example, lists, tuples, and dictionaries. These are built-in collections. Several modules have been developed that provide additional data structure to store collections of data. One such module is the Python collections module. The collections module in Python is used to improve the functionalities of the built-in collection containers. Okay. The next section walks you through how to package a simple Python project. It will show you how to add the necessary files and structure to create the package. Also how to build the package and how to use this package. In the next section, you will master all about math and statistics modules practically and the functions that are used with them. Simply, the math module provides access to the mathematical functions defined by the C standard. And the statistics module provides functions for calculating mathematical statistics of numeric data. That's it, very simple. Finally, in the last part of this course, you will learn something very important, which is decoration. In this section on decorators, we will look at what they are and how to create and use them in detail. Simply and by definition, a decorator is a function that takes another function and extends the behavior of the later function without explicitly modifying it. That's it, very simple. We will simplify this topic without any complication and with practical examples to illustrate. I hope you will join us in this wonderful course, and if you want any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, we'll talk about Python iterators. So, what is the meaning of iterator in Python? The simple definition for iterator is it is an object that contains a countable number of values. That's it, very simple. And also, it is an object that can be iterated upon, meaning that you can traverse through all the values of the sequence that you iterate from. And for this purpose, we need to use the two important methods, iter and next methods. An iterator is an object which implements the iterator protocol, which consists of the methods that we talked about, iter and next. Before we take a simple example for that, we need to talk about the difference between iterator and iterable objects. The iterable objects are just containers which you can get an iterator from, just like lists, tuples, dictionaries, and sets. All that are iterable objects, and we can get an iterator from them. All iterable objects have an iter method which is used to get an iterator from. Let's see how to create a simple iterator based on a tuple and print values one by one using iter, next, and print methods in Python programming language. And this example will return an iterator from a tuple simply and will print each value using the next method with the print function. First of all, we'll create an iterable object. It is a Python tuple. Just we'll say fruits top equals to lemon, orange, and banana. All these three items of strings in between round braces, and this is a simple tuple of three items. We separated all the items using comma, as you can see, and its name is fruits top. After that, we are gonna use the iter method to get a simple iterator from the iterable object called fruits top. Try to create a variable called newIt equals to the iter method for fruits top iterable object. We place the name of the tuple inside the parentheses of the iter method. After this statement, we can use the iter method for fruits top using the newIt variable simply, because this variable called newIt equals to the iter method for fruits tuple. That's it, very simple. Or the iter method for fruits tuple is stored inside the new it variable. So we can use the new it variable instead of the process iter fruits tuple. Now we can use the next method inside the parentheses of the print function with the new it variable to display the first item from the fruits tuple. A single next method will display only the first item. If you want to display the second item and the third item also, you can use 3 next methods, one by one. One for lemon, then one for orange, then one for banana. Let's see this. Just try to type print next and in between the parentheses of the next method, the name of the variable new it that stored the iter method for our iterable object inside it called fruits tuple. If you try to run this file, it's gonna give us the first item only from the sequence or iterable object called fruits tuple, and it is called lemon. This is the first item. This statement, print next new it, will display only lemon inside the terminal. And if you want to display the value of the second item called orange and the value of the third item called banana, you can use print with the next method for a new it variable another 2 times after the first one for lemon. We have print next new it 3 times here. The first one will display lemon, the second one will display orange, and the third one will display the value of the third item from our iterable object. It is banana. Go ahead and run this file again and look at the terminal. It shows lemon, orange, and banana. This is how to display an iterator using iterable object. And try to do this with a dictionary or a list. It is very simple, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, I'll show you how to return an iterator from a string data type. Even strings data type are iterable objects, and simply you can return an iterator from a string data type to display all the string characters one by one. And we are gonna take a simple example to iterate over a sequence of characters of a string data type because it is simply an iterable object. We will create a variable called fruit str, then we will assign a string data type value to this variable, and this string data type is orange inside double quotes, and it is just a sequence of 6 characters. This is our string data type iterable object that we want to return an iterator based on it. We'll say new it equals to iter and place fruit str inside the parentheses of the iter method. This is to iterate over our string sequence called orange. To iterate over this sequence, we need to use the next method for each character or each letter for the orange string, the next method for O, the next method for R, the next method for A, and so on until reaching the last character of the string. So let me show you that. Just type print next and in between the parentheses of the next method, place the variable name called newIt that equals to the iter method for fruit str string data type. We will do that 6 times because we have 6 characters for our string data type called orange. Now we need to run this script to get the iterator inside the terminal. Once you run this file, you can see it returns all the string sequence or characters one by one from O to E. This is a very simple example of how to return an iterator based on a string data type, and try to do that with another string data type instead of orange. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi. In this lesson, I'll show you how to loop through an iterator, and we can use the for loop to iterate through an iterable object like tuple, list, and more. In this lesson, we'll take 2 examples to iterate over a tuple and a string data type using the for loop block. Let's see this in action. For this iterable object called fruit_tup, it is a tuple, we'll create a for loop to iterate over its sequence. Just try to type for I in fruit_tup, and inside the block of the for loop put print I. This I variable here represents each item from the fruit_tup tuple. And this for loop here to iterate the values of our tuple and will display each item from the tuple called fruit_tup one by one inside the terminal once you run this file. And after clicking on the run button from the top right side here, you should see this output: lemon, then orange, then banana, each item value in a separated line. This is our iterator based on the iterable object called fruit_tup. So what is the purpose of using the for loop in this case? Actually, it creates an iterator object and executes the next method for each loop. Let's take another example for that using our string that we created previously in previous lesson. Here we have a simple variable called fruit_str, and we assign a string data type called orange to this variable easily. Just we are gonna type for I in fruit_str and the print function to print I variable for each item. This for loop will iterate over the orange sequence one by one, and we use it in this case to display the items one by one, or to create an iterator based on the orange sequence. You will see each character in a separated line inside the integrated terminal. Let's run this file to show the output. You can take a look at here inside the integrated terminal. We got O, R, A, N, G, and E. All the characters from the orange sequence or iterable object one by one. This is the easiest way to create a simple iterator based on using the for loop through a string data type. That's it, very simple. Try to create a simple for loop to iterate over an iterable object such as list or tuple or dictionary, and also you can try the for loop with string data type like this example. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hello and welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, I'll show you how to build a simple iterator. To create an object or class as an iterator, you have to implement the method that we talked about, the iter method and the next method, to your object. You should know that all classes in Python have a function called init, which allows you to do some initializing when the object is being created. The iter method acts similar. You can do operations such as initialization, but must always return the iterator object itself. That's it, very simple. And the next method also allows you to do operations and must return the next item in the sequence. It is a very simple process. Let's take a simple example of how to build an iterator to return numbers, start from 1 and adding 1 for each sequence. Try to type class new numbers, then def iter and put self as a parameter for this iter function. Then inside the scope of the iter function, put self.a equals to 1 and return self. Here in this example, we created a single class called new numbers using the class keyword, and make sure to put a colon at the end of the header of this new numbers class. And we created a function using the def keyword. This is a user input function, and we called this function iter to build the iter function with self parameter to access variables and attributes inside this class using the self keyword, because simply by using the self keyword we can access the attributes and methods of the class in Python programming language easily. It binds the attributes with the given arguments. Also, self is a parameter in function and user can use another parameter name instead of using self. But it is advisable to use self because it increases the readability of code for anyone or any developer while reading your code. In this example, and after creating the iter function, we placed a variable inside this function and we gave this variable an integer data type 1 as a value for this variable called a, and the self parameter to access this variable easily. Then the expression for the return statement is self. Returning self like that from a method simply means that your method returns a reference to the instance object on which it was called. This can sometimes be seen in use with the object-oriented APIs that are designed as a fluent interface that encourages method cascading. Once you create the iter method inside the new numbers class, you can create the next method after that, and also inside the scope of the new numbers class simply. And this method called next is used to allow you to do operation and also to return the next item in the sequence to iterate. Just try to type def next and put self parameter in between the parentheses of the next method, and make sure to put a colon at the end of the header of the next function. Then the body of the next function will be x equals to self.a, self.a plus equals 1. This is the increment to add 1 for each sequence, and return x after that. Now simply we just completed our new numbers class, and we are gonna create a simple object based on this new class in order to show the output on the screen one by one. And simply this program will display sequence of numbers from number 1, and each time you use the next method it will print the next item. Just try to type new class equals to new numbers. This is our object called new class, and this object based on the new numbers class, and you can say this class called the new numbers is just a blueprint for the new class object. After that, try to use the iter method for this object called the new class that is based on the new numbers class, and we equate this variable called the new iter to the iter method for the new class. Put the name of the object in between the parentheses of the iter method. And finally, to display the items or to iterate over numbers starting from 1 and each sequence will increase by 1, we should use the next method in between the parentheses of the print function for this new iter variable that contains the iter function or iter method for the new class, and this new class object based on the new numbers class that contains the iter method and the next method that we have created inside the new numbers class. Simply try to type print next new iter 7 times to print numbers from 1 to 7. This is the easiest way to iterate over numbers from an iterator that you created. Now you need to run this file to show the output on the screen to show numbers from 1 to 7. Easily you can go ahead from the top right side and click on the run button to show the output inside the integrated terminal. And immediately after running this script, you can see the output starting from 1 to 7 because we used print next new iter 7 times. Hi, we have an example here to build iterator to return numbers starting from 1 and adding 1 for each sequence. But the iteration process for this program would continue forever if you had enough next statements or if it was used in a simple for loop to display the iterations one by one. And to prevent the iteration to go on forever, simply we can use the StopIteration exception or statement in Python programming language. Let's add the StopIteration to our program. Simply inside the scope of the next method here that we have created, we can add a terminating condition to raise an error if the iteration is done a specified number of items. Let's see this. Just type if self.a smaller than or equals to 17. This is to stop after 17 iterations. And the structure or the body of the if statement block here is x equals to self.a, then self.a plus equals to 1, then return x. This is the body of the if statement. To add 1 because of the increment for each sequence. Then the return statement to return this item after adding 1 for each time. Otherwise, you can use the else statement to raise an iteration called StopIteration if our number is not smaller than or equals to 17. For each sequence, if the test expression for the if statement is false, the program will raise StopIteration statement. Now let's add a simple for loop to iterate over our sequence. Just type for x in a new iter, then print x inside the scope of the for loop. X here is to represent each item in our sequence. If you try to run this file, you will get numbers from 1 to 17. And our program will stop after 17 iterations simply. Let's see that. Immediately after running this file, we got numbers from 1 to 17. This is our iteration process. And also if you try to use more than 17 next statement to display each next item in our iteration program, the program will display items from 1 to 17, and after 17 it's gonna give us stop iteration statement inside the output. You can see our iteration here in the terminal, numbers from 1 and adding 1 for each sequence, and the last number is 17. And after 17, because of using the else statement to raise stop iteration exception if the test expression was false for the if statement. Try to do that yourself with another condition or test expression for the if statement inside the next function. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time to provide support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson we'll talk about Python scope in detail. A variable is only available inside the region it's created. This is a simple definition for scope. There are two different types of scopes in Python: local scope and global scope. First of all, let's talk about the local scope. A variable created inside a function belongs to the local scope of that function, like this variable here, I equals to 90 inside the new function, and this variable can only be used inside that function. You have to call this function to make this variable work. And for this script, if you try to run this script, you'll get 90 inside the integrated terminal, the value of the I variable from inside the new function. And if you try to print this variable outside the local scope of this function, you will get an error because the variable is not defined outside the new function or globally. You can take a look at the terminal here. We get name error. Name I is not defined because the variable called I is available inside that function called new function only. That's all for this simple lesson, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hello and welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, we'll talk about function scoping. Previously, we learned about variable scoping. The variable I is not available outside the new function, but it is available for any function inside the function. Let's create an inner function inside the new function. Inside the scope of the new function, insert def new inner to print I, and after that call the new inner function inside the new function. It works only inside the new function local scope, and after that we call the new function, and the result in this case will be 90 inside the terminal because of this is the result of calling the new inner scope inside the new function. In this example, the local variable called I can be accessed only from our new inner function, and also if you try to call the new inner function globally outside the new function, you will get name error because this function is not defined globally. It works only inside the new function local scope. And you can see name error, name new inner is not defined inside the integrated terminal due to calling the new inner function globally. That's all for this simple lesson, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you, to provide support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson we'll talk about the global scope. A variable created in the main body of the Python code is a global variable and belongs to the global scope. Like this variable here, I equals 270. This variable that we created outside of a function here called I is global and can be used by anyone. You can use it inside any function after declaring it, and also outside the local scope of any function. Let's try to print this I inside the new function and call the function. And it's gonna give us 70 inside the integrated terminal as an output. Also, if you try to print I outside this function, you will get 70 because this variable called I works globally without any problem. And if you try to operate with the same variable name called I inside and outside of a new function, Python will treat them as two separate variables, one available in the global scope outside the new function and one available in the local scope inside the new function. Inside the new function, put I equals 250 instead of 70 in the global scope. And if you try to call the new function, you will get 50 instead of 70, because the value of I inside the new function or inside the local scope of this function equals 250 instead of 70. And if you try to call this function, you will get this value. And also if you try to print I globally, you will get 70 because this is the global value for I. Immediately after running this file, you will see the new function will print 50 inside the integrated terminal, and then the code will print the global I variable 70. That's all for this simple lesson. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson.
Welcome back. As we said before, a variable called I created inside the new function belongs to the local scope of this function. And if you try to print I outside this function after creating it, you will get name error because this variable called I is not declared globally, and also it is not defined, as you can see here inside the integrated terminal. And there are two ways in this case to solve this problem. You can use the global keyword, or you can declare the I variable globally before creating the new function. If you need to create a global variable but are stuck in the local scope, you can use the global keyword. The global keyword is a built-in keyword in Python programming language that makes the variable globally. Let's make this variable called I globally using the global keyword. Inside the local scope of the new function, type global I. This will make the variable called I work globally instead of locally only. Once you run this file, you will get 50 as a value for printing I after calling the new function outside the new function scope. Simply, there is no error. We got 50 as a result of calling the new function, followed by another 50 for printing I using the print function. And you know the other way to create a global variable. Just type I equals to 90. We declared this variable called I here globally. But if you use this way for declaring the global variable with the global keyword inside the new function for the I variable, this will make the global value for I equals to 50 instead of 90, because the global keyword for I inside the new function changes the value of I from working locally to globally. Simply to change the value of a global variable inside a function, refer to the variable by using the global keyword as in this example inside the new function. We just changed the global variable value from 90 to 50. And if you try to run this file, you will get 50 inside the integrated terminal for calling the new function. That's all for this lesson, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson.
Hi everyone. Welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll talk about the format function for storing data type in Python programming language. Basically, to make sure a string will display as expected in Python, we can format the final result by using the format built-in method. Here we have a variable called degree, and its value is integer data type equals to 25. After that, let's create another variable and its value will be string data type. Call this variable new text equals to the degree is an empty curly braces Celsius. This is a simple sequence of characters in between double quotes. The format built-in method in Python allows you to format selected parts of a string data type. Sometimes there are parts of a text that you don't control. Maybe they come from a database or user input or others. To control such values, add placeholders like curly braces in our variable called new text and run the values through the format method. Let's do that practically. We'll say print new text.format degree. This statement will add the value of degree variable in between the curly braces inside the string data type output, and the output will be the degree is 25 Celsius. This is a simple example for adding a placeholder where you want to display the degree value. Also, you can add parameters in between the curly braces inside the string to specify how to convert the value. Here in this example, we can format the value of degree variable to be displayed as a number with 2 decimals. Let's see this. Inside the curly braces, let's add :.2f to add 2 decimals for our value. Once you run this file again, you can see our number with 2 decimals, 25.00 instead of 25. Try to do that yourself with another number. That's all for this simple lesson, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, I'll show you how to add multiple values to the format method in Python programming language. Simply, if you want to use more values, just add more values to the format method. Here we have three variables. The first variable is quantity and its value is 5. The second variable is called item number and its value is 150. The third variable is called the price and its value is 71. And this is for adding more placeholders to our string result. Let's create a simple string and its variable called new order, and this string is we want an empty curly braces, pieces of item number, another empty curly braces, and for a colon dot 2f inside curly braces to add 2 decimals to the third number, then dollars, all that in between double quotes. Just type print new order dot format quantity, item number, and the price. The first variable value will be added inside the first curly braces or placeholder, and the second variable value will be added in the second placeholder or curly braces inside the string. And after that, the value of the price variable will be placed in between the third curly braces inside the new order string with 2 decimals. And this program is gonna give us, we want 5 pieces of item number 150 and for $71.00. Try to do this yourself with more than 3 variables. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson we'll talk about index numbers for string formatting. You can also use index numbers or a number inside the curly braces or placeholder to be sure the values are placed in the correct placeholders. Here we have 3 variables to add their values in between the curly braces or the placeholders. The index of the first variable is 0. And the index of the second variable called item number is 1, and the index of the third variable is 2, and so on. We'll try to add 0 for the first placeholder, 1 for the second, and 2 for the third in between the third curly braces. Immediately after running this file, you'll see we want 5 pieces of item numbers 150 and for $71.00 in the integrated terminal. This is our output. If you want to refer to the same value of a variable more than once, you can use the index number more than once. After creating 2 variables, age equals to 39 and name equals to Joe as a string data type, create a new text variable equals to the player name is, and put 1 in between the first curly braces, dot put another 1 in between another curly braces, then is. Then we placed 0 in between another curly braces, then years old. All this in between double quotes. It is a string data type and we're gonna format it using the format method. Now we'll say print and place new text.format for age and name variables in between the parentheses of the print function to display the result of formatting this string called new text after adding the value of the age variable in index 0 inside our new text string, and also adding the value of the name variable in index 1 2 times. And now if you try to run this file, you should get the player name is Joe. Joe is 39 years old inside the integrated terminal. Click on the run button from the top right side and you can see it's gonna give us the player name is Joe. Joe is 39 years old. That's it, very simple. Thanks a lot for watching. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson we'll talk about named indexes for Python string formatting. You can also use named indexes by entering a name inside the curly braces or the placeholder position. But then you must use names when you pass the parameter values. Let's see this practically. Let's try to create a variable called new order equals to I have a car name in between curly braces. It is a model inside another curly braces. And after this new order variable, let's create a print function, and in between the print function put new order dot format car name equals to BMW and model equals to X5. And due to using the format method with car name equals to BMW and model equals to X5, the output will be I have a BMW, it is an X5. The value of the first placeholder index is BMW and the value of the second placeholder inside the second curly braces will be X5. The values of our two parameters called car name and model will be passed into our new order string inside their placeholders based on the parameter name or named indexes. Very simple. Let's go ahead and run this file to show the output inside the integrated terminal. Let's remove this character from here, A, and run this file again, and you can see we get I have a BMW, it is X5 inside the integrated terminal. This is very simple and easy. You can try this yourself, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson we'll talk about Python generators. Python provides a generator to create your own iterator function. That's it, very simple. A generator also is a special type of function which doesn't return a single value. Instead, it returns an iterator object with a sequence of values. In a generator function, there is a statement called yield. A yield statement is used rather than a return statement to return any value. Let's take a simple example for building a simple generator function. We'll create a simple function called new generator, then try to type print first result, then the yield statement to return 20. Inside the new generator also, let's add another print function to print second result, and after that the yield statement also to return 40. And also inside the scope of the new generator, let's add another one. Insert print last result followed by yield 60 to return 60. In this program, the new generator function is a simple generator function, and it uses the yield statement instead of the return keyword. So This program will return the value against the yield keyword each time it's called. However, you need to create an iterator for this function. Let's see this in action. We'll create a comment, say return values for each yield. Then a simple variable called gen1 equals to the new generator function to iterate over this generator. We are gonna create an iterator for this new generator function here. And we are gonna use the next statement to return each next item in our iterator. Type print next and place the name of the variable in between the parentheses of the next method. Once you run this file, you will get first result string in the terminal, and after that you will get 20 in the next line. And also you can use the next method for the second yield and the third yield. This is our iterator, and it's gonna give us first result 20, then second result 40, then last result 60 inside the integrated terminal. This is a simple example of a generator to create your own iteration function. Try to do that yourself with another function, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time to provide you with support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Let's talk about the difference between the return keyword and the yield statement. The generator function cannot include the return keyword. Simply, if you include the return statement in your generator, then it will terminate the function. The difference between the yield statement and the return statement is that yield returns a value and deposits the execution while maintaining the internal states, whereas the return statement returns a value and terminates the execution of the function, like in this example for the new generator function. If you try to use the return statement here, this will terminate the execution of this function, and you will get StopIteration exception inside the terminal. Go ahead and run this file, and you can see this output inside the terminal, the StopIteration statement. Simply, our generator here stops execution after getting the first item because the return keyword is used after yielding the first item, then StopIteration after that. That's all for this simple lesson. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. See you again next lesson. Hi there, welcome to this new lesson. Also, you can use the for loop with the generator function in Python programming language. Let's take a simple example for this. Just create a function called up2 with I parameter in between the parentheses of this function, and inside the scope of this function, inside the local scope, type for x in range of I, then the yield statement with a simple expression called x to represent each item in the generator. Here in this example, we just created a function called up2, and this function uses the yield keyword. The generator is called just like a normal function. However, its execution is paused on encountering the yield keyword. This sends the first value of the iterator stream to the calling environment. However, local variables and their states are saved internally. That's it, very simple. And simply the generator called up2 can be called. Let's see this. Just create a variable and assign up2 with a value of I. 4 in this case. We set this value for the I parameter, and this value will be passed inside the up2 function. And if you try to use the next method for this function more than 4 times, you will get the numbers from 0 to 3 due to using the range function inside the for loop for I, and the I value is equals to 4. And after that you will get also the stop iteration exception inside the output, because you have to use the next method 4 times because the value of I in this case equals to 4. So the last value in this iteration process must be 3. And once you run this file, you can see inside the terminal numbers from 0 to 3 and the stop iteration exception after number 3. The function here resumes when the next method is issued to the Iterator object. The function finally terminates when the next encounters the stop iteration error. If you want to remove the stop iteration exception, just remove the last print next for the new sequence. And run this file again and you will get the numbers from 0 to 3 simply without any errors. That's all for this simple lesson. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone. In this lesson we'll take a simple example. We'll create a simple function called squared sequence which acts as a generator, and it yields the square of a number successfully on every call of the next method. Let's see this practically. Let's create our new function called squared sequence using the def keyword, and it has a single parameter called I in between the parentheses of this function, and make sure to put a colon at the end of this header of this function, which called squared sequence. After that, let's create a simple for loop to iterate over a sequence. We are gonna type for x in range I, then the yield keyword, and its expression is x multiplied by x. This will yield the square of a number successfully on every call of the next method, and you can see x multiplied by x equals to x to the power 2. It is a simple mathematical operation that you can try. And after that, globally outside the squared sequence function, let's call the squared sequence function, and we'll give a value for I equals to 3, and we'll assign the calling of this function called squared sequence to a new variable called new genera. Just type new genera equals to squared sequence and put 3 as a value of I as we said. And once you call this function, let's create a simple exception inside a while loop, and the while loop test expression will be true. If our process is true, it will print received on next, then the value of using the next function for a new genera variable, and this new genera variable equals to the calling of a squared sequence function, and it is our generator function with 3 as a value for I parameter, which will be passed into the squared sequence function. And if the try block is not true, the program will display the stop iteration error inside the terminal and break after that. Immediately after running this file, you will get the output in the terminal. It shows received on next, then the value of next new genera for 0, and 0 multiplied by 0 equals to 0. Then 1 multiplied by 1 equals to 1. Then 2 multiplied by 2 equals to 4. The range function here inside the squared sequence displays only numbers from 0 to 2 because the value of I equals to 3. It is very simple. And if you try to change the value of I from 3 to 6, you will get this output inside the integrated terminal. The message received on next before each x multiplied by x, from 0 multiplied by 0, which equals to 0, until reaching 5 multiplied by 5, which equals to 25. It is very simple and easy process, as you can see. Try to do this yourself with another value for I. And if you encounter any problem, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, I'll show you how to use the for loop to traverse the elements over the generator instead of using the next function. And in this case, the next function is called implicitly, and the stop iteration exception is also automatically taken care of. Let's create a simple for loop to traverse the elements over this generator function called squared sequence. Just try to type for square in new genera, then the print function to print square on the screen. This square variable here represents each element in our iterator, and you can name this element any valid name you want instead of square. And if you try to run this file, you will get x multiplied by x for numbers from 0 to 5 inside the integrated terminal. Go ahead and run this file and you can see we got 0 multiplied by 0 equals to 0, 1 multiplied by 1 equals to 1, 2 multiplied by 2 equals to 4, 3 multiplied by 3 equals to 9, 4 multiplied by 4 equals to 16, and the last result, when x equals to 5, the result would be 25 due to multiplying 5 by 5. That's it, very simple. Try to create another for loop with another name instead of square, and also try another value instead of number 6 for I. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hello and welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, we'll talk about generator expression and how to create a generator expression in a very short way. Actually, Python also provides a generator expression, which is a shorter way of defining simple generator functions. And generator expression is an anonymous generator. Just try to type squared equals to I multiplied by I for I in range of 4 to display the squared value for numbers from 0 to 3. And all the operation or the value of a squared variable here in between parentheses. And simply you can use any valid name instead of I here to represent each number in our generator. And after that you can use the next method to display each next item in the sequence. And we'll put this next method inside the print function parentheses, and in between the parentheses of the next method try to put the name of the variable that stored our operation, squared. Try to type print next squared 4 times and if you try to use it more than 4 times, you will get the stop iteration exception after the 4th print function in the output. It's gonna give us 0 for multiplying 0 by 0, 1 for multiplying 1 by 1, 4 for multiplying 2 by 2, and 9 for multiplying 3 by 3. And if you try to add another print next squared, you will get the stop iteration error after 9. Generally, this program is a very simple example of using a generator expression. The first part of an expression is the yield value, and the second part is the for loop with the collection. I multiplied by I expression is the yield value, followed by the for loop collection simply. Also, the generator expression can be passed into a function. Basically, it should be passed without parentheses. Let's see this in action by taking an example. For this example, try to import the math module first. Python programming language has a built-in module that you can use for mathematical tasks, and it is called math. The math module has a set of methods and constants, and here we imported it using the keyword import. After that, we can use the sum built-in function inside the print function, and our generator expression in this case is y multiplied by y, and our for loop here collection for y in range of 8. The generator expression in this case is being passed into a function called sum. And once you run this file, you will get the sum of the squared numbers before 8, the addition of numbers from 0 to 7, because the parameter of the range function here equals to 8. And also you can add any number instead of 8, like 5, and the result in this case would be because of passing the value of y into the expression of the generator. Try to do this yourself with another value for y, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, we'll talk about the regular expression in Python programming language. Let's get started. Regular expression in Python is a sequence of characters that forms a search pattern. That's it, very simple, and it can be used to check if a string contains the specified search pattern or not. And also, the Python programming language has a built-in package called RE, which can be used to work with the regular expressions. And simply you can use the import keyword to import this package. Also, when you have imported the RE module or the regular expression module, you can start using regular expressions. Let's take a simple example to search the string to see if it starts with the and ends with Germany. Here at the beginning, go ahead and import the regular expression module using the import keyword. Just type import RE. After that, try to type new text equals to the match in Germany. This is our string data type to see if it starts with the and ends with Germany. The regular expression module offers a set of functions that allows you to search a string for a match. In this example, we'll use the search function that returns a match object if there is a match anywhere in the string. Create a variable called x equals to regular expression re.search and place caret before the, then dot, then asterisk before Germany and $sign after Germany, and this is inside double quotes. After that, comma, and the new text variable. After the searching process, we use the print function to print X on the screen, and the print function here will give us the reference for this matching. Once you run this file, it's gonna give us regular expression.matchObject span from 0 to 20 and match equals to the match in Germany. This is our reference. And if you want to see if the searching process is matching or not, you can use a conditional if statement to make decision in this example. We'll type fx, then print yes, we have a match, else print no match. In this case, if the test expression for the if statement is true, the program will display yes, we have a match, else it will display no match message on the screen. And you know, in this example we have a match here for X, so the test expression for the if statement is true, and you will see yes, we have a match string inside the terminal immediately after running this file. Go ahead and run this file again, and you can see inside the integrated terminal this simple message, yes, we have a match, from the if statement block. That's all for this simple lesson, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. The regular expression module in Python offers a set of functions that allows us to search a string for a match. For example, the findAll function to return a list containing all matches in our string, and the search function to return a match object if there is a match anywhere in the string, and the split function to return a list where the string has been split at each match, and also the sub function. The sub function is used to replace one or more matches with a string data type, and the strange symbols that you see always called meta characters. Meta characters in regular expression are characters with a special meaning. For example, square brackets is to put a set of characters in it, and the backslash character to signal a special sequence, and also it can be used to escape special characters. And also the description for the dot character is any character except the new line character, and the rest of meta characters can be seen in this table. Just I'll leave you 10 seconds to look at this table and read it with a great focus. Also, regular expression module offers special sequences. A special sequence is a backslash followed by one of the characters. For example, \a to return a match if the specified characters are at the beginning of the string. Another example for that, \b to return a match where the specified characters are at the beginning or at the end of a word. And also this is the table in which the rest of the special sequences are. I'll leave you only 10 seconds to look at it. It is also wonderful that the regular expression module in Python offers sets. A set simply is a set of characters inside a pair of square brackets with a special meaning. For example, a-n inside square brackets is used to return a match for any lowercase character, alphabetically between a and n. Also, 0-9 inside square brackets is used to return a match for any digit between 0 and 9. Okay, let's take a simple example in this lesson to learn how to use the find all function with the regular expression module. Simply try to type import re to import the regular expression module using the import keyword from the Python standard library. Then after that, try to type new text equals to the rain in Germany in between double quotes. The rain in Germany here is just a simple string that we'll use in our work here, and we just stored it inside the new text variable to use the name of this variable in our process. We are going to use the find all function to return a list containing all AIs from our new text string. Just type x equals to re.findAll AI inside double quotes, then the variable name new text, then print x on the screen using the print function. Once you run this file, you will find this list inside the terminal. We have one item here, one AI inside square brackets. We have one AI inside our string in the word rain. This concept is very easy and simple, as you can see. You can practice it simply yourself. And if you try to add more AIs in our string called new text and run this file again, you will find that we have more than one item in the final result in our list. And this is clear to you after we have added more here. This is so amazing. That's all for this simple lesson. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. For the output, the list contains the matches in order to they are found, and if no matches are found, an empty list is returned. In this lesson, I'll show you how to return an empty list if no match was found simply. Simply, in this example, try to change the AI characters to Brazil. And you know now that is the word Brazil doesn't match any equivalent inside the new text string. And if you try to run this file, you will get empty square brackets because there is no match. So let's run it to see that. Now you notice what we talked about inside the integrated terminal. There are only empty square brackets because there is no match inside the string called new text for the word called Brazil. The topic is very easy and simple, as you can see, and you can try this yourself with another word instead of Brazil. Also, you can use the if-else conditional statement to display match or no match when the x variable process is matching or not. If the test expression for the if statement is true, it will display match, and else it will display no match. And in this case, it will display no match, then empty square brackets for the globally print x. Immediately after running this file, as you can see, this program gives us this output. No match, then empty squared brackets, as we explained earlier. There is simply no match. That's all for this simple lesson. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, we'll talk about search function and we will take a simple example for this function. The search function searches the string for a match and returns a match object if there is a match. If there is more than one match, only the first occurrence of the match will be returned. Here we have a variable called new text and its value is a string data type. This string is the rain in Germany inside double quotes here. After that we are gonna use the search function with the RE module. Just type searching equals to re.search then \s, new text. We have a special sequence here called \s to return a match where the string contains a white space character. That's it simply. Then try to use the print function, and in between the parentheses of the print function type the first white space is located in position string between double quotes, then comma, then searching.start to start searching from the beginning. So searching.start here is where the regular expression was matched in the new text string. And this program now is gonna give us 3 inside the integrated terminal because the first white space in the new text string at the index 3 because we start counting from 0 in string data type in Python. And you can see inside the integrated terminal we get the string, the first white space is located in position, then our position is 3 or our index equals to 3. It is very simple as you can see. Try to do this yourself, and if you need any help please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone. If you try to use the search function with the RE module and if no matches are found, the value none is returned. So what is the meaning of the word none in Python programming language? Let me tell you its meaning simply. The none keyword in Python programming language is used to define a null variable or an object. Actually, in Python, none keyword is an object and it is a data type of the class none type. We can also assign none to any variable if you want, but you cannot create other none type objects. Also, a very important point here is all variables that are assigned none point to the same object. New instances of none are not created. This is a simple definition for the none keyword in Python. Let's complete our example to make a search that returns no match. Just type matching equals to re.search Brazil and the variable name called the new text, and you cannot find Brazil in the new text string here. So if you try to run this file, you will get none inside the integrated terminal. Go ahead and run this file from the top right side here by clicking on the run button, and you will get none inside the integrated terminal. None object is the result of our program because we cannot find Brazil in the new text string. That's it, very simple. Try to do that yourself by using another word instead of Brazil. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson we'll talk about the split built-in function with the regular expression module in Python programming language. So what is the purpose of using the split function with the regular expression module in Python? Simply, the split function returns a list where the string has been split at each match. And let's take a simple example to see this in action. We are gonna split at each white space character in this example. Here we have a variable called new text, and this variable called new text equals to Python is a cross-platform language string in between double quotes. Now we'll use the split built-in function with the regular expression module. After the new text variable, try to type new match equals to re.split, then place \s in between double quotes, then the variable name called new text, and we separated them using comma in between the parentheses of the split function. And the \s here is used to return match where the string contains a white space character. And we inserted the name of the variable called new match in between the parentheses of the print function to show the output on the screen. Immediately after running this file, you can see inside the terminal the output is all within a list. The words are separated by a comma and each word is enclosed between single quotes. It is very simple, as you can see, and also you can control the number of occurrences by specifying the max split parameter. In between the parentheses of the split function, try to add 1 as a value for the max split parameter. Once you run this file again, you will find that only the first word has been splitted or isolated, which is Python, and there is only one comma, and it is after the word Python also. It's really fun and simple. You can try this yourself. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hello everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, we'll talk about a new function from the functions provided by the regular expressions module in Python programming language. This function is the sub function. Actually, the sub function replaces the matches with the text of your choice. Let's see this in action by taking a simple example to replace every white space character with the number 9. We have a simple variable here called new text, and its value is a string data type. Python is a cross-platform language in between double quotes. Simply we'll place the number 9 in all of the blanks or white spaces in this string by using the sub function. Just try to say matching equals to re.sub, and in between the parentheses of the sub function place \s, comma 9, comma the variable name new text. Our sub function here has 3 parameters. The first parameter is to return a match where the string contains a white space character, and the second parameter is 9 in between double quotes. You can place number, symbol, or anything you want to put inside the white spaces of the new text string. And the last parameter, or the third parameter in between the parentheses of the sub function, is the new text variable. Once you run this file, you will find that the number 9 has been placed in all the white spaces inside the string called new text. And as we said, you can put anything in the place of the number 9 in between double quotes, such as this symbol here, and you can put anything you want to be placed in the white spaces of the string data type called the new text. And you have to put the symbol or the number you want inside the quotes, and don't forget this. Try to do this yourself with another symbol or number. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hello everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, I'll show you how to control the number of replacements by specifying the count parameter for the previous example with the subfunction. In between the parentheses of the subfunction here, let's insert a value for the count parameter. This value here is 3. And the final output for this program will be as follows. This vertical symbol will be printed only 3 times in the first 3 white spaces in our string data type, and the counting always starts from left to right. That's it, simply. Go ahead and run this file and you should see this output. We got this vertical symbol only in the first 3 white spaces. And you can change the value of the count parameter, and also you can change the symbol for any symbol or number you want, but you must put the number or the symbol in between quotes. Try to do this yourself, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, I'll show you the use of the span function with the regular expression module. The match object has properties and methods used to retrieve information about the search and the result. The span function returns a tuple containing the start and end positions of the match. Just try to type searching equals to re.search r double quotes \b and capital S \w plus and the new text, all that in between the parentheses of the search function, and we separated them using comma. The \b here is used to return a match where the specified characters are at the beginning or at the end of a word. And the letter R here in the beginning is making sure that the string is being treated as a row string. And also \w is to return a match where the string contains any word character. And the last thing in between the double quotes is the plus sign. Simply insets the plus sign or the asterisk sign or dot or parentheses or curly braces and double quotes has no special meaning, so the plus sign here means return a match for any plus character in the string. And in this example, the regular expression looks for any word that starts with an uppercase S. And if you try to run this file, you will get none inside the integrated terminal, because in our new text string there is no word that starts with capital S. Try to change capital S and run this file again, and you will get the reference for this program. And inside this reference in the terminal you will find the dimensions or the parameters of the span function from position 0 to position 6, as well as the word in which this matching match equals to Python. And you can use the span function for searching variable in between the parentheses of the print function to get the starting position and the end position for the matching word from the new text string, all that in between parentheses in the terminal as a final result. As you can see here, the Python word that contains capital B starts from index 0 and ends at position 6. That's all for this simple lesson. If you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hello and welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson we'll talk about two methods or two functions offered by the regular expression module in Python. The first function is the string function. It returns the string passed into the function. The second function is the group function. The group function returns the part of the string where there was a match. Let's see this in action. In this program here, let's use the string function to print the string passed into the function. And immediately after running this file, you can see we got Python is a cross-platform language. The string passed into the search function. Now let's take another example for using the group function with the regular expression module. Just try to type print searching.group and change letter capital S to capital C inside the search function parentheses, and make the word cross starts with capital C instead of small c. In this example here, the regular expression looks for any word that starts with an uppercase C. And after running this file, we got crossword inside the integrated terminal because it starts with uppercase C in the new text string. And if there is no match, the value none will be returned instead of the match object like cross in this case. For example, if you search for any word in this string called new text starting with a capital D, for example, it will display none in the output. That's all for this simple lesson. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson we'll talk about the collections module in Python programming language. The collections module provides alternatives to built-in container data types such as a list or tuple or dictionary or any container for data types. It's really very important module and you can import it from the Python standard library using the word import. Before you start writing any Python statement, try to type import collections. Then we will use a very important function with this module called nameTuple. So what is this nameTuple function used for? Simply the nameTuple function returns a tuple-like object with named fields. These field attributes are accessible by lookup as well as by index. Just try to type player equals to collections.nameTuple and create a simple tuple with two items. The first item is a string data type and it is player. The second item of the tuple is a list with 3 items. The first item is name, the second item is age, and the third item is country, all that are surrounded by square brackets. This is a simple statement declares a player class having name, age, and country as fields. We can create a new object of this named tuple. Let's do that. Just type p1 equals to player Fred 28 Brazil, and the second object is called p2 equals to player Marcelo 31 Brazil, and you can create as many objects as you want and with different values for name, age, and country as easily as you can see here. And simply you can use the print function to print the name value for the first object called p1. Just try to type print p1.name, and once you run this file you will get Fred in the terminal as a result. And if you want to display the value of age for p1, try to print p1.age and you will get 28 after running this file directly. And also you can do the same for the second object and print the name value and the age value on the same line. Just type print p2.name, p2.age. We separated them using comma in between the parentheses of the print function here. And immediately after running this file, you should see Marcelo31 on the same line in the terminal, as you can see. Try to do this yourself, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, we'll continue talking about the collections module from the Python standard library. And also we'll use another built-in function with this module, and this function called orderDict. Just try to type first d equals to collections.orderDict. This orderDict function is similar to a normal dictionary object in Python. However, it remembers the order of the keys in which they were first inserted. Type first d x equals to 70, then first d y equals to 75, then first d e equals to 77, and the last one first d for m equals to 79. Here we have 4 items x, y, e and m, and we inserted value for each one. And we can use a simple for loop to print all these elements one by one, each item with its value on the same line. Just try to type for k, v in first d.items, then print k and v. This is our for loop, and k here represents each key from our sequence, and v to represent each value for each key. And we used the items method with the first d variable to return the dictionary's key value pairs. Go ahead and run this file, and you can see we get x and its value is 70, y and its value is 75, e and its value is 77, and the last item m and its value is 79. And for this example, to increase the readability, you can add a simple colon after the key here. And once you run this file again, you will find the change in the final result. A simple colon is placed between each key and its value. Try to do this yourself with more than 4 items. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, we'll continue talking about the collections built-in module from the Python standard library. We will use this module with a very important function. It is the Deque built-in function from the Python standard library. At the beginning, try to import the collections module. And after that, type q equals to collections.deque, and we are gonna insert a simple list in between the parentheses of the deque function. And this list has 5 items, 5, 10, 15, 20, and the last item in this list is 25, a simple list of numbers. A Deque object in Python supports appending and using the pop method from either ends of a list. It is more memory efficient than a normal list object. In a normal list object, the removal of any item causes all items to the right to be shifted towards left by 1 index. Hence, it is very slow. Just type q and hit enter to get our Deque. And you can add another item to the end of this Deque by using the append method. Simply try to type q.append 30 to add number 30 at the end of the queue. This is for adding an element from the right side of our queue. And did you know that you can also add another number from the left side instead of the right side using the append left method? Just type q.append left 0 to add 0 at the beginning of our queue list. And the built-in function called pop is used to delete or remove the last item from our queue list. As you can see here, the last number has been deleted, which is the number 30. It is very simple. Finally, you can delete a number from the beginning of the queue list instead of the end by using another function called popleft. Just type q.popleft and hit enter. With this statement, the first item has been removed from the list, which is 0. Everything is simple and don't need to be complicated, as you can see here. Try to do this yourself and use these functions. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll talk about packages in Python programming language. We can organize large number of files in different folders and subfolders based on some criteria, so that we can find and manage them easily and simply without complication. In the same way, a package in Python takes the concept of the modular approach to next logical level. As you know, a module in Python can contain multiple objects such as classes, functions, tuples, lists, and many more. A package can contain one or more relevant modules. Physically, a package is actually a folder containing one or more module files, like this package here called my package. This package has 3 files. Let's talk about this package called my package more closely and the process of creating it. We'll talk about the steps for creating this package simply. First of all, try to create a new folder and call it my app. This is the container of our package. And once you create this folder, try to create a subfolder with the name my package, like this here inside the file explorer of the Visual Studio Code editor. After that, try to create an empty init.py file in the my package folder. And also try to create 2 modules. The first one is called greeting, and we inserted a function called greeting inside it. And the second file or the second module put 3 functions inside it, all of which is to do a mathematical operation. The first one or the first function is to add 2 numbers together and return the sum. And the second function is to get the average between 2 numbers. And the third function is the power function, is the exponentiation function to return x to the power y. That's it. We have created our package called my package, and we created 3 modules inside our package called my package. Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, I'll show you how to import a module from a package. Inside my app folder and outside my package, let's create a file called main. And inside this file, let's import the new functions file or module from the my package package. Simply type from my package import new functions. After importing the new functions module from the my package, try to call its power function. Just print new functions.power, and for its 2 parameter, we placed 4 as a value for x and 2 as a value for y. And if you try to run this file called main, you will get 16 inside the integrated terminal. 4 to the power 2 equals 16. Let's see another example for another function from the new functions module from my package. Just type from my package.newFunctions import sum. The from keyword in Python is used to import only a specified section from a module, like in this example here. After that, let's call the sum function from the new functions module. Just type print sum 30 and 40. 30 as a value for x parameter and 40 as a value for y parameter. And once you run this file, you will get 70 as a final result, because this is the value returns for the sum function. And also another example to illustrate this concept, try to call the average function from the new functions module with 15 as a value for x and 10 as a value for y parameter. And it's gonna give us 12.5, the average number between 15 and 10. It is very simple, as you can see. Try to do this yourself with another functions. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi there, welcome back. The package folder contains a special file or module called init. As you can see, our my package has a simple module called init, which stores the package's content. The Python interpreter recognizes a folder as a package if it contains the init file or module. And the init module exposes specified resources from its modules to be imported. Simply, an empty init file here makes all functions from above modules available when this package is imported. And a very important point here is the init module is essential for the folder to be recognized by the Python programming language as a package. You can optionally define functions from individual modules to be made available. We shall also create another Python script in the my app folder and import the my package in it. It should be at the same level of the package to be imported. Normally, the init file is kept empty. However, it can also be used to choose specific functions from modules in the package folder and make them available for import. Let's modify our init module here. Just inside it, type from.newFunctions import average and power. Then from.greeting import greeting. This is to import the greeting function from greeting module from my package. And the specified functions here can now be imported in another Python script or in the interpreter session. Try to create another Python file in the same level of my package, and we call this file test. And inside this test file, type from my package import power, average and greeting. Now you can use and call any of these three functions. We are gonna call the greeting function and the power function. Just type greeting and put a value for the name parameter Joe. After that, we'll call the power function with 4 as a value for x and 2 as a value for y, and print x to get 16 inside the integrated terminal after the name Joe. And you can separate the two results with dashes to give some decoration. And once you run this file, you can see we get hello string plus the value of the name parameter Joe, then 16. 4 to the power 2 equals to 16. That's all for this simple lesson. Try to do this yourself, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi there, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson I'll show you how to install the package called My Package globally. Once a package is created, it can be installed for system-wide use by running the setup script. The script called setup function is from setup tools module. Let's install my package for system-wide use by running a setup script. Look at the setup file here and these statements from setup tools import setup, then all the information in between the parentheses of the setup function. Name equals to my package, version equals to 0.1, description equals to testing the installation of package, URL equals to hash, and until reaching zip safe equals to false. And save this code inside the setup.py file in the parent folder my app. And the script calls the setup function from the setup tools module. And the setup function in this example here, it takes various arguments such as name, version, description, URL, author name, license, packages, and zip safe. The zip safe argument defines whether the package is installed in compressed mode or regular mode. Now inside the integrated terminal, let's type pip install dot to install my package using the pip utility. And you can see done, successfully installed my package. Now let's open the Python shell by typing Python and hit enter. Now you can use the my package package because we have installed it globally, and you can also call one of the functions in it like average in this case with the values you want. In this case 20 as a value for x, 30 as a value for y. And hit enter and you will get 25.0. This is the average number between 20 and 30. That's all for this simple lesson. Try yourself to install my package globally. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. Hi everyone, welcome to this new Python language lesson. In this lesson we'll talk about the math built-in module in Python programming language. The math built-in module gives access to the underlying C library functions for floating point math. This module provides access to the mathematical functions defined by the C standard. And these functions cannot be used with complex numbers. Use the functions of the same name from the C math module if you require support for complex numbers. The distinction between functions which support complex numbers and those which don't is made since most users don't want to learn quite as much mathematics as required to understand complex numbers. Also, receiving an exception instead of a complex result allows earlier detection of the unexpected complex number used as a parameter, so that the programmer can determine how and why it was generated in the first place. At the beginning, we will use the math built-in module with the cosine built-in function. As you can see here, after importing the math module, we used the math module for cosine function to get the result of math.py divided by 4. And after that, let's hit enter to show the output. Simply, you can see the result of this statement is 0.707. Let's try another one using the logarithmic function or log. You can see here math.log for 1024 when the base is 2 and the result will be 10, as you can see. You can see here also this is the result. We get 10 as a result for this mathematical operation. Now let's talk about the random module. The random module provides tools for making random selections. That's it, very simple. And let's take a simple example to get a random choice from a list of 3 items using the random built-in module from the Python standard library. And also we'll use it with the choice built-in function. Here we have the random module we imported, and after that we typed random.choice, and in between the round brackets of the choice function we just placed a list of 3 items, banana, apple and lemon, in between the square brackets for this list. You can see here we get a random choice for this list and it's lemon. Also we can use the random built-in module with the sample built-in function from the Python standard library also, and the range to get the random of items in the range of 100. Simply it shows random 10 items in the range of 100. This is sampling without replacement, and you can get random floating point number using the random module with the random built-in function. As you can see here, we have this random float 0.91 as an output for random.random. Let's try another one using the random built-in module with range to get a random number in the range of 10. The random number in the range of 10 here is 8. Let's talk about another very important module from the Python standard library. We'll talk about the statistics built-in module in Python programming language. The statistics module calculates basic statistical properties like mean, median, and variance of numeric data. Let's take an example of using the statistics built-in module with mean built-in function. Here the result of statistics.mean for this data or this list that is called data is 2.66. The mean built-in function is to calculate arithmetic mean or average of data. Let's get the median of this list that is called data using the statistics module and the median built-in function. The median built-in function is to calculate the median or the middle value of data. Now, the last example we'll take in this lesson is for using the statistics built-in module with the variance built-in function. You can see here we have statistics for variance for the list that is called data. The variance built-in function is to calculate sample variance of data, and the sample variance of this list is 4.22. It is very simple, as you can see. Try to do this yourself, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi there, welcome to this lesson. Let's start talking about Python decorators. Basically, a decorator takes in a function, adds some functionality and returns it. In this module, I'll show you how to create a simple decorator and the use of it practically. Python programming language has an interesting feature called decorators to add functionality to an existing code. This is also called metaprogramming because a part of the program tries to modify another part of the program at compile time. That's it, very simple. And in order to understand about decorators, we must first know a few basic things in Python programming language. We must be comfortable with the fact that everything in Python are objects. Even classes are objects also, and names that we define are simply identifiers bound to these objects. Also, user functions are no exceptions. They are objects too with attributes. So, various different names can be bound to the same function object. Let's create a simple function to add further clarification. Just type def new with text as a parameter, then print text. This is a simple function called new, and it has text as a parameter. And inside the local scope of this function, we have used the print function to print text on the screen. Now let's call this function to see the result of it on the screen. Just type new hello. We have called this function with its name and hello as a value for the text parameter. It is very simple. Also, there is another way to call this function by creating a variable and equating it with this function called new. Then the calling of this variable with a value for the text parameter that we have here inside the parentheses of the new function. We'll say after equals to new, then call the function using this variable after and give a value for the text parameter. When you try to execute or run this file, these two functions, new and after, give the same output. Here the first name is new and the second name is after, refer to the same function object. Actually, functions can be passed as arguments to another function. Such functions that take other functions as arguments are also called higher order functions in Python or in other programming language. Go ahead and run this file and you will see this output. Our two functions here give the same output as you can see inside the integrated terminal. We got hello 2 times, one for the new function and one for the after function. Try to do this yourself, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hello and welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, I'll show you how to create higher order functions. As we said before, functions can be passed as arguments to another function. And those functions that take other functions as arguments are also called higher order functions. Let's take a simple example of such a function. We'll say def new incrementing with a parameter and return a plus 1. This is a simple function to add 1 to the parameter value that we are going to put. As you can see, the returning value for this function is a plus 1. After this function, let's create another function for the decrementing. Just type def new decrementing a, then return a minus 1. The returning expression for this new decrementing function is a minus 1, and this function is to decrease 1 from the value of a parameter. After that, we'll use these two functions as an argument to another new function. Let's create this new function. Try to type def operating func and a, then result equals to func of a, and after that return result. This new function called operating has two parameters or arguments. The first one is func and the second one is a. The new incrementing and the new decrementing functions will be passed to the operating function in the position of the func argument. Let's invoke the operating function 2 times. Once using the new incrementing in the place of the func parameter or argument, and again using the second function new decrementing. Try to type print operating new decrementing, then 3. Here we have called the operating function and its first parameter is the new incrementing function to add 1 to the value of a. And in this case, the output simply for this calling and the printing using the print function will be 4. To show the output, simply go ahead and run this program by executing this file, and you will get 4 inside the integrated terminal, as you can see. So let's do the same thing with the second function, which is called the new decrementing. Simply try to insert print operating new decrementing, then 3. Because of the use of the new decrementing function as a first argument or parameter during the calling of the operating function here, and because the value of a for this calling equals to 3, the final result for this statement will be 2. A minus 1. 3 minus 1 equals to 2. Try to run this file again and you will get 2 inside the integrated terminal. It is very simple and easy, and you can try to do this yourself, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi there, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson we'll complete talking about higher order functions. Let's take another example of a function can return another function. Try to type def calling. This is a simple function that will create a function inside, and the returning value for this function will be the calling of the inner function. Let me show you this practically. In the local scope of the calling function, type def returning, then print hello from the inner. The returning function task here is to print this string on the screen, hello from the inner. Now, in the local scope of the calling function and on the same level of the returning function, let's return the inner function called returning to the calling function. Just type return returning. We just invoke the returning function using the return keyword here. This is the returning statement for the calling function. Now it's time to call the calling function. And that calling will equate it with a variable, and will use the variable name as a new name for this function. Just try to type new equals to calling, then invoke the calling function using the new name new. Here in this example, the returning function is a nested function which is defined and returned each time we call the calling function. Now if you want to see the final output, try to run this file. As you can see, things are very simple. Simply it shows hello from the inner message on the screen. That's all for this simple lesson, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to this new lesson. Functions and methods are called callable, as they can be called. Actually, any object which implements the special call method is termed callable. So, in the most basic sense, a decorator is a callable that returns a callable. And as we said before, basically a decorator takes in a function, adds some functionality and returns it. Let's take an example of how to decorate a function in Python. Just say def new pretty and give it a single parameter called func. Then inside the local scope of this function, put another inner function, called it new inner, as you can see, and print hi, I got decorated. Here we just created a function called new pretty with a single parameter in between the parentheses of this function, and inside the local scope of the new pretty function, we placed the new inner function to display "Hi, I got decorated" on the screen. Then inside the scope of the new inner function, let's type func. Simply, func is an argument given to the function called newPretty, and the expression func followed by an empty parenthesis means call the function assigned to the variable called func. After that, type return newInner on the same level of the newInner function in the local scope of the newPretty function. The decorator is taking another function as an argument and returning a new function defined as newInner in this case, which executes the given function called func when it is run. Now let's create another function after the newPretty function block. We're gonna type def the normal and print "Hi, I am the normal." This is a very simple function, as you can see, and its name is the new normal, and it will print "Hi, I am the normal" on the screen. And when you call the normal function, you will get "Hi, I am the normal" on the screen after running this file. Now, what can we do if we want to decorate the normal function? So, let me show you how to decorate the normal function here in this example. Simply try to type pret1 equals to newPretty and put the normal function in between the parentheses of the newPretty function. Then call pret1. Here in this example, we placed the normal function as an argument to the newPretty function instead of func, and when we call the func argument inside the newInner function inside the newPretty function, you will get the calling of the normal function instead of the calling of func. So when you run this program, you should get "Hi, I got decorated," then "Hi, I am the normal" messages in the integrated terminal. It is very simple process. So try to do this yourself with other names for functions and other messages. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi there, welcome to this new lesson. In this example, the function called the normal got decorated and the returned function was given the name newPretty. And we can see that the decorator function added some new functionality to the original function. This is similar to packing a gift. Simply, the decorator acts as a wrapper. The nature of the object that got decorated or actual gift inside doesn't alter, but now it looks pretty since it got decorated. We can use the @ symbol along with the name of the decorator function, like newPretty in this example, and place it above the definition of the function to be decorated. Let's see this in this example specially. Place a simple comment and after it type @newPretty. As you can see here, we placed the @ symbol along with the name of our decorator function, and its name is newPretty. And after @newPretty, you can place the normal function definition to be decorated. This is another method of decoration other than the method we used in the previous lesson. Okay, now you just need to call this function called the normal in order to complete this program. Just type the normal followed by an empty parenthesis. Thus our program was completed and you can run it now. This is a very easy and beautiful way to implement decorators in Python programming language. Immediately after running this file, you can see inside the integrated terminal we get the same result as in the previous lesson. hi, I got decorated, then hi, I am the normal. The normal function has been decorated successfully. That's all for this simple lesson. Try to do this yourself with different names for functions. And if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible. I am here to help you all the time. Thanks a lot for watching. See you again next lesson. Hi, welcome to this new lesson. The two previous examples that we took previously for decoration are very simple examples, and it only worked with functions that didn't have any parameters. So what if we had functions that took in parameters? In this lesson, we will see this in action. Let's get started. Here we have a simple function called division, and it has two parameters, x and y, in between the parentheses of the function, and we separated them using comma, as you can see. And the returning value to this function is the expression x divided by y. After this, let's call this function called division with two values for the two parameters x and y, and we'll put the result on the screen using the print function. Just try to type print division 3 for x and 7 for y, and you will find the final result in the terminal of dividing 3 by 7. The final result is a floating point number, as you can see, 0.428 to the end of this number. As you can see, things are very simple and they work correctly, but if you divide a number by 0, the problem will appear. Let's see this. Type print division 3 for x and 0 for y parameter. This function called division here has two parameters, x and y, and we gave this function 3 as a value for x and 0 as a value for y parameter. And we know it will give an error if we pass in y as 0, as you can see here. Once you run this file, you will get this result, ZeroDivisionError, division by 0. This is an error, and we'll make a decorator to check for this case that will cause the error. Hi there, welcome to this new lesson. In this lesson, I'll show you how to make a decorator to check the case that will cause ZeroDivisionError in the output for the previous example. First of all, we'll create the decorator function. Just type def followed by the name of this function, best division, with func as a parameter. After that, let's insert the inner function. Just type def inner with two parameters, x and y, then print we are going to divide, then the value of x and then the value of y, and we separated them using comma, as you can see, in between the parentheses of the print function. We separated the strings from the values of the variables or the parameters x and y by using comma. And now we'll use the if statement to print a specific message or string if the y parameter is equal to 0, and this is what we are talking about. In this case, we control what the function does when dividing by 0. That's it, very simple. Inside the local scope of the inner function, let's type if y equals to 0, then use the print function to print cannot divide. As you can see, the test expression for the if statement in this case is y equals to 0. Then we'll type return without an expression. If no expression list is specified for the return keyword, none is returned. And also that says there is no need to check rest of the parameters nor raise an alert. After that, and on the same level of the if statement inside the local scope of the inner function, let's return func x and y. And as we did in the previous functions, let's return the inner function to the best division function and on the same level of the inner function inside the local scope of the best division function. Here we have completed the decorator function and it is the best division. Now before the function that will be decorated, place the add symbol followed by the decorator function name best division. After that, let's type def division x and y, then print x divided by y, our previous function to be decorated using the best division decorator. To show the output, now we need to call this function. Let's call it 2 times. We'll say division and put 3 as a value for x and 7 as a value for y. And run this file and you'll find the result that we got previously in the previous lesson, 0.428 to the end of this number. After the message, we are going to divide 3 and 7 that is inside the print function from the inner function. Let's now see what will happen if we divide by 0, and this is what we created this function or this decorator function for. Just type division and give 3 as a value for x and 0 as a value for y. And once you run this file, you will get sorry cannot divide instead of ZeroDivisionError exception inside the integrated terminal. And this message also, after displaying the message, we are going to divide 3 and 0. Try to do this yourself, and if you need any help, please ask me and I'll answer you as soon as possible to provide you with support and assistance. Thanks a lot for watching.